Hello and good morning. How's everybody doing today? This is Rich Harshaw from Monopolize Your Marketplace, and I want to thank you for joining us this morning on our, well, I was going to say monthly webinar, but I guess we do them about 7 or 8 times a year. So our frequent webinar. Today's topic is going to be sort of I don't know how to say this. It's we got a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of interesting, good, diverse topics. I mean, at the end of the day, here's what you're interested in. When you dial into the topic of marketing, you're looking for ways to generate leads. You're looking for ways to get more money for your sales. You're looking for a way to get people more excited about doing business with you. And at the end of the day, you're looking to make more money. And that's what this webinar is all about. We're going to talk about proximity marketing, how to get people around your job sites to actually come and do business with you. Some of the things that have been done in the past, that maybe you've tried in the past, don't really work that well anymore. I've got some good ideas for you that are going to help you crack that code. Also, pre-positioning, making sure that the prospects that you do have make a decision that they absolutely want to do business with you before they ever have the sales meeting with you. That's what pre-positioning is all about. We're going to cover that topic, as well as getting referrals. I mean, getting referrals is a mystery. It's one of the mysteries of the universe. Everybody's always asking for referrals, putting referral programs in place. And at the end of the day, I find that there seems to be this natural sort of flow of referrals that isn't all that great for most companies. I mean, if you're one of the minority companies that has a lot of referrals, congratulations. But for the majority, it's a tough thing. And I've got some ideas for you on that. So those are the topics we're going to cover. It was pitched as a 3-for-1 marketing webinar, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to cover 3 topics. That being said, we don't have a lot of time to cover any one of these specific topics, so I'm going to move quick. I'm going to talk fast. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll send a link to the video of it, no later than tomorrow, maybe even later today. So you'll have a chance to see this, go through it again, see the slides one more time. So take some notes, and let's see how much we can cover. I'm going to tell you this right now. It's going to be a lot. All right, so let's make sure that everything is working okay, technically speaking. And it appears to be working, technically speaking. This webinar is a product of our sponsors. You can see on the screen here, Market Sharp, Guild Quality, Qualified Remodeler Magazine, Gutter Covers International, and Bath Wraps by Liner Direct. These are the sponsors that make this webinar possible. If we didn't have these sponsors, we wouldn't be having this webinar, and all this fantastic information would be, you wouldn't have it. So I'd like to ask you to do a favor. I'd like to ask you to do a little favor, which is this. At the end of the webinar, if you find that there was value in the webinar, if you liked what you heard, if you found it to be actionable, if you enjoyed it, I'd like you to just drop a little note to the sponsor, whichever one of these companies invited you, gave you free admission to this webinar, and let them know that you enjoyed it, number 1, that there was actionable items, number 2, and that you'd like to see more in the future, okay? That's what they want to hear. We're also going to give these companies just a brief moment to talk about themselves, to give you an idea. It's a little bit of a commercial. I mean, let's just put it out there. But that's how this kind of thing works, right? We have free webinars because we have sponsors that invite you. And so we'll hear from a few of them up front, and then during the middle part of the webinar, we'll hear from a couple more, okay? So a couple of housekeeping notes. Number 1, like I said, we are recording this. We'll send it out to you. I always get a bunch of questions towards the end of the webinar. Hey, is this being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. And yes, you don't have to do anything. The link will be emailed to you automatically, okay? We are also going to give away 3 copies of Monopolize Your Marketplace. This is a book that I wrote, obviously covering marketing topics. And you do have to be present to win, and I will give these away at the very end of the webinar. The webinar is going to take somewhere in the neighborhood of about 75, 80, 85 minutes, something like that. We'll take some Q&A. I have a policy of taking as many questions and staying as long as people have questions they want to ask. So if you're that kind of person that wants to stick around and ask questions, wonderful. I'll be here at the end of the webinar. Okay? So now I'm going to go through just a couple of the sponsors that aren't actually here participating on the webinar live today, but I'm going to just help you understand a little bit about them. Excuse me. The first one is Gutter Covers International. And hey, I've been in this industry now working with remodelers for almost 10 full years. I guess it's actually 9 going on 10. And I've seen a lot of gutter cover companies. I've gone to all the remodeling shows, and I've seen them all there. And I'm going to tell you, they all make the exact same sales pitch, which is we've got the best product. It'll never clog. It's uncloggable. And these guys, they're out of Cincinnati, Ohio. And Tony Iannelli, who's the owner of this company, is the first guy I ever heard say, you know what, our product doesn't always work. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. And he said the reason is because there's different kinds of tree situations in different parts of the country, in different neighborhoods. And their main product, which is called Gutter Topper, you're probably familiar with it, is a fantastic solution for most, but not all situations. So Tony, upon finding that his product did not work in some situations, went back and engineered different types of gutter cover products for different types of environments. They've now got, I believe, 5 different gutter covers. The Gutter Topper product works in the majority of the places in the country, but not all. So they've got these other products that they've engineered specifically for different kinds of products. They've got fantastic margins available to you as a potential dealer, up in the neighborhood of 60 to 65%. It's a fantastic company run by great people, salt-of-the-earth kind of people. That's why they're our sponsor. So I encourage you, if you're looking for an add-on product, you're looking for a different gutter cover product, give these guys a call, Gutter Covers International, or you can see the phone number on this screen. Okay? And I will be putting a poll up a little bit later where I will give you, as a viewer of this webinar, an opportunity to choose on a poll different sponsors that you'd like to hear from, and then they'll reach out to you and contact you. So you can either reach out to them via the email, the web address or the phone number, or you can just check off on the poll that I'll give you a little bit later in the webinar, and they'll contact you directly, okay? Also, Qualified Remodeler Magazine, longtime sponsor of Monopolize Your Marketplace. I've spoken at their Top 500 event on 2 different occasions, written in their magazine on multiple events, had a marketing blog. Just a really great company to be associated with. Clearly one of the leading experts on all things remodeling, and would encourage you to, number one, read their magazine and support their sponsors, because that's how they stay in business, is by their sponsorship. Also, if you don't receive their magazine currently, I'd encourage you to go onto their website and go ahead and subscribe. It's a fantastic read, and I think you'll enjoy it. Plus, you'll see me in there. Not that I'm, beautiful, but you can see me anyway. Also, third and final for this segment of sponsorships, Bath Wraps by Liners Direct. Obviously, a company that sells bathroom remodeling type of stuff, and it's just kind of like that. What I said earlier about gutter cover companies, where there's a bunch of them, they all say they're the best. Hey, I've been around a long time, like I said, and all of these bath wrap, all of these liner type companies all say the same thing. The best product is it's some derivative of best. But let me tell you what is really, truly interesting about this company. They do have a fantastic product. I'm not going to get into the details of how their product is different. You can go to linersdirect.com/dealer, check all that out. But here's what I do want you to know about this company. They generate leads for their dealers, and the dealers only have to pay for leads that they want to buy. In other words, they charge, I think it's about $80 per lead. It could be 85 or 75. I can't remember exactly. Let's just call it around 80. You buy as many leads as you want. If you find the leads are good, then you keep buying them. If you don't find the leads are any good, you quit buying them. The marketing support from this company to help you actually make money is, I would say it's the best, but I don't even know any other company that's even doing anything like it. It's so far beyond the normal. This is a fantastic company for you to check out. If you're involved in the remodeling space, bathrooms at all, definitely you want to check out linersdirect.com/dealer. Or like I said earlier, I'll give you a poll a little bit later. You can just check off, hey, I'd like to hear from those folks, and they'll reach out to you proactively, okay? So that being said, let's start with the first of the 3 topics, and it's proximity marketing, or some people call it neighborhood marketing or radius marketing. And as you can see here on the illustration, what we want to do is we'd like to find a way to get all of the houses on the neighborhood. And I don't know that it's realistic that all of the houses buy from me, but here's what we do want to do. Turn one sale into, maybe 2 or 3 more, or maybe 3 or 4 more, or maybe 4 or 5 more, okay? So let's talk about it. We call this super robust proximity marketing. Now, in the old days, we had what was just called proximity marketing. What we want to talk about is super robust proximity marketing, which is by implication of the name, stronger, more powerful, works better. Regular proximity marketing typically means you send out a few postcards, 2 or 3 postcards, pardon our dust, we're in the neighborhood. Maybe you'll catch somebody's attention. Maybe they'll get an awareness that you exist. And typically the only people that call from these are what I call the nowest of the now buyers. These are people that are ready right this second, and you just happen to catch them at the right moment, and they go, oh, hey, what all of the stars have aligned, and somebody happens to know that I want to remodel my kitchen, or I want to buy windows, or do my bathroom, or whatever it is that you happen to sell, get a roof, and they happen to call. But you know what? I talk to remodelers all over the country, and guess what they tell me? This doesn't really work. So let's talk about what does work. Okay, super robust proximity marketing, multi-touch program that forces neighbors to deal with you. Okay, I mean, it's about being active, and it's about being proactive, and a little bit it's about just getting yourself in front of people's faces a little bit, okay? Because if you sit back and you say, well, I'm not really like that, I really don't want to put myself in front of people's faces, that's fine. You don't have to, but they're not going to call you. But you understand? So we've got to be a little bit more proactive. Okay, so here's what you need to understand. They may or may not have a need right now. This is the case. If you've got 100 neighbors around your job site, not everybody's going to need windows right now. Or even if they do need windows, they may not recognize the fact that they need windows. But after the super robust proximity marketing, they will at least know the following. 1, that their neighbor has used you. They're going to know that. Number 2, they're going to know why the neighbor chose you as a contractor instead of somebody else. They're going to know that. They're going to know why they should get this service done. In other words, let's say it's windows. Not everybody understands that their windows are failing or not as good as they should be or not as energy efficient or pose some sort of a threat. They don't understand that. We're going to educate them through this process. They're going to know why they should choose you to do it, same reasons that their neighbor used to choose you. And they're also going to know that the neighbor loved you. Now, there's going to be sort of a common principle that goes throughout the webinar today. One of those principles is going to be that we want to generate as many sales as we can right away, but we also want to make sure that we're planting very strong and robust seeds. Because here's the thing, if you're a window company and you do a job in a neighborhood and you send out all this stuff and put all this effort, like we're going to talk right now, into getting other customers, there's going to be customers that just for timing reasons aren't ready to buy right now. But if you make a strong enough impression right now, even though you may not get the sale right now, they may not pick up the phone and say, hey, right now come over and sell me windows, but they might in 2 months or 3 months or 6 months or 18 months or 27 months. You just don't know. The idea here is to make a strong enough impression that we get all of the now buyers right now and we plant seeds so that when they're ready later, they know exactly who to call. That's what we're trying to accomplish here, okay? So the first step is obvious. Most of you probably already do this. It's a job site sign. The job site sign should clearly state your name so people see it, but also it should be branded so that when you send other stuff later, they start to have the ability to connect the way that your job site looks with the way that your postcards and other marketing and mailing and pieces look, so that there's some sort of a connection. Okay, you'll also see on here this particular job site sign that I put on this sign, on this slide. No sales pressure, no hassles, no regrets. Now, this is getting into a concept that we call identity. If you do not know what identity is, that's because you are new to Monopolize Your Marketplace. It's the core concept that all of the marketing that we ever do in the Monopolize Your Marketplace, whether it be advertising or websites or job site signs or home shows or anything else, it all revolves around the concept of identity, which is communicating who you are, how you're different, why you're better, and what customers can expect when doing business with you. If you have not identified and powerfully communicated your identity, then everything that we do is going to be less effective. And you'll start to see what this identity is. Now, hopefully, many of you on this webinar have participated with me before, and at least you have a cursory understanding of what this idea, of what this thing called identity is all about. But you'll start to see that as we go through here. So step 1 is the job site, and that shouldn't be any surprise to you. But you know what? It is a little surprising because when I ask my customers, we've got about 130 or 140 customers, all home improvement companies, roofers, siding companies, windows, kitchens, baths, siding, all that kind of stuff. When I ask them, do you use job site signs? It's only about half that actually use job site signs. The other half just never really got around to it. Or they used to have them and they ran out and they forgot to reorder and they just didn't think it was that big of a deal. I'm telling you, it's a big deal. So number 2, take one flyers. Here's what you want to do. Just like the real estate guys, these boxes, if you buy them off the internet from a real estate supply company, they cost about $11 to $20 a piece, okay? You take it, you shove it in the ground right next to the job site sign, and then you put a flyer in it. This is not a revelation, but here's what is a revelation. Number 1, do it. Number 2, the flyer has to be identity-based. Remember the definition of identity, who you are, how you're different, why you're better, and what customers can expect when doing business with you. Not just, hey, we sell windows, we exist, we've got great prices. That's not the message that you want to communicate. You want to communicate who you are, how you're different, why you're better, and what customers can expect when doing business with you. All of that you want to do in a powerful, articulate, persuasive, precise kind of a way. So this particular company's flyer says, introducing the easy, no hassle, no pressure way to buy windows and skylights in Phoenix. Obviously, they're in Phoenix. And then it says on the picture, which is beautiful, windows, doors, and skylights without the long, drawn-out sales meetings and confusing choices. Free from pressure. We find out what you want, make recommendations, then step back and let you decide. And we're immediately, from the very first moment, we're putting the customer at ease. Now, this is this particular company's identity. This is probably not your identity. Your identity might be based more on quality or communication or the strength of your warranties or the quality of your installation. It could be any number of things, and it needs to be customized to you. Identities are like fingerprints. They have to be specific to your company. Otherwise, you're not communicating who you are, how you're different, why you're better, and what customers can expect when doing business with you. This is one example, but you'll notice it's communicated powerfully, it's precise, and it's very inviting. The design is nice. You'll see over here on the side, visit our website, get price quotes, customer references. We've got an offer for $500 off at the bottom. We've got the phone number, free from sales pressure, free from lengthy pitches, free from hassles, free from regrets. This is how this particular company works. If we had more time, I'd dissect this more, but we don't. So step number 1 was the job site sign. Step number 2 is the take one flyer. Are we tracking here together? Okay. Number 3, customer overview sheet. Now, what we want to do is recruit the customer to work for you. Now, this is optional. You do not have to do this, but I strongly recommend that you do. Here's what it says. Help us spread the word, and we'll reward you for your efforts. Save up to 10% on your project. Now, here's the thing. You've got to make this work within your pricing. I'm not trying to impose some sort of pricing or discount on you as a company. I'm simply saying this needs to be customized to fit within your current pricing models so that you don't take it in the shorts when you're trying to, offer this to your clients. But here's what you do want to do. You're trying to recruit their help in operating this program. You want them to let you take photographs before and afters of the job. Number 2, allow you to put the job site sign for 30 days where it's allowed by HOA rules. Step number 3, keep the take one box full because they will be taken. And so you're going to give them a little supply of flyers and say, here, put them in there. Number 4, mailers. You're going to let them know that we're sending mailers to your neighbors, and then we ask them to take reference calls. Okay? Now, you can sort of just do this without their permission, but I recommend that you get them on board and you say, look, as a condition of doing business with us, if you are happy with our service, we will make it worth your time and effort by helping us to administer this program. Okay? I'm not going to get bogged down on the details right now any more than I already have, but just understand this is a definitive sheet that we give them. It explains the program. They sign off on it, and it shows them what their discount is. Okay? Number 4, radius postcards. Send them to 50 to 150 neighbors. It kind of depends on the neighborhood. We prefer 6 by 11 postcards. You'll see on the screen it says left hand, right hand, trash can. We love postcards because we know people aren't going to necessarily read the mail in great detail. They're not going to frame it on their wall and say, wow, I can't believe I got this wonderful piece of mail. Typically, postcards are going to go from the left hand to the right hand to the trash can or the recycling bin, as the case may be. And we want to make sure that we have something that catches their attention, that gives them an impression, that is powerfully stated, that is going to help our cause, okay? You don't have to time the send. Sometimes people say, well, should I send it, when we start? You don't really have to time it. Typically, you want them to hit while the job site sign is out. That's really it. You've got a 30 to 60-day window there. Customize them with your customer's name for maximum impact. That's something that we can help you do. If you prefer standardized because they're easier without being customized, it is easier, but it may not be as effective, okay? Here's what we want to focus on. Number 1, identity. Number 2, reasons for needing the service. And number 3, social proof. So let me show you how this looks. We just replaced your neighbor's windows. We'd like to give you a free, no obligation, no pressure quote on windows for your home. You'll see that this picture is customized for that particular style of neighborhood that they service. We could customize this to say, we just replaced the Johnson's windows at 1231 Whispering Oaks. That would be even more powerful, but there's options here. Getting a quote on windows is fast and easy. 3 steps to saving. We've got a $500 offer. We offer a free estimate. We give some identity information on the right-hand side of this postcard. This is the front and the back of the same postcard, okay? Are you with me? Again, we're not going to get too bogged down on the details. We don't have time, so let's keep moving. Here's a second postcard. Neighbor recommended and approved. Would your neighbor recommend Freelite for new windows? We just completed work for the Johnsons on 1231 Whispering Oaks. Again, that gives us a little higher level of customization. Call them and ask, do you feel like you got a good value? Do you feel like there was any sales pressure? And as you flip this over, we've got more references that they can call in pictures and so forth, okay? And then the third postcard. Did you know that replacing your windows and making your home more effective can be done for as little as $187 per month? You can afford high-quality windows that can withstand Arizona's brutal heat, okay? Call us for an easy, no-obligation window quote. These are the postcards. We do not anticipate huge swarms of calls from these postcards. This is a multi-touch program. First of all, we put a job site sign. Second of all, we had a take one box. Third, we recruited the customer to help us. And then 4, we send out these postcards. 5th, check mailer. Okay, the check mailer is designed to look like a check so that when people see it poking through the window envelope, they go, huh, a check. When they open it, let me just show you what this looks like a little more close up. We just replaced one of your neighbor's windows. We'd like to offer you a good neighbor discount if you do the same. The attached check above is worth up to $500 off your replacement window purchase. And then it goes through a discussion of, guess what? Drum roll, please. Identity. Here's who we are. Here's how we're different. Here's why we're better. Here's what you can expect when doing business with us. Okay? Talks about the windows, and they're true 100% for life warranty, no sales pressure, great prices, etc. And it's signed by the owner of the company. That's number 5. Number 6, customer testimonial letter. This is starting to be some of the heavy artillery, okay? Send in a personal envelope, and it speaks directly to the neighbor, explains how thrilled they are with the work that you've done. Now, you might be thinking, well, how do I get my customer to write this letter? That sounds like a pain in the butt. You're right, it is a pain in the butt. So here's the solution. We write the letter for the customer. Now, obviously, we get their permission to send it. We don't just send it and hope they like it. We get their permission. Is this letter okay if we send it? So they only have to sign off on it, not actually write it. If you start asking them to write it, number 1, they'll never do it. Number 2, who knows what it's going to say, right? So we are now trying to give social proof. We're building a case. So here's an idea of what the letter looks like. From Joe Stevens on 1221 Tyler Street. We want that address to be close enough to the customer that they go, I don't know who Joe Stevens is, but I know that Tyler Street's right around the corner. If you've even thought about replacing your windows, read this letter. Dear neighbor, I've never sent a letter like this before. I'll probably never send one again. I recently had my windows replaced from a company called Freelite. They asked me if I'd be willing to send a testimonial letters to my neighbors if I was pleased with the job. Normally, I would have probably said no, thanks. But I have to tell you, I really did have an extraordinary experience. If you've considered replacing your windows, I can wholeheartedly recommend this company. Freelite claims that they free you from all the usual problems associated. Now, this is identity, right? See, we can't count on a customer to write a powerful identity-based letter like this, but we can write a powerful identity-based letter like this. Here was my experience. Short sales meeting, no pricing games, no sales pressure, fair pricing, lifetime warranty, genuinely nice people. If you're thinking about replacing your windows, give them a call. Here's the guy's name. Here's his phone number. And if you have any questions, feel free to email or call me personally. This is powerful stuff. But even though we've now had a job site sign and we've had to take one and we've had 3 postcards and a check mailer and we've now have a testimonial letter, we are still not expecting the phone to ring off the hook. Here's why. People are funny that way. It's hard to get them to reply. That's why we do the following. Well, first of all, there's the envelope. So you can see it looks like it's sent out. It's just from a local neighbor. Door to door. This is where the rubber hits the road. Create a list of all the neighbors and then have a person knock all the doors. You can do it with just a single person. You don't need a big fleet of people. After everything you've done, this is going to be more effective. And what we do is we use the big bill as an icebreaker. Now, here's what the big bill looks like. It's an oversized $1,000 or $500 bill, whatever amount coincides with the discount that you want to offer. Okay, on the back side of the big bill is a flyer. But we use this as an icebreaker. When they open the door, we extend the big bill and say, we'd like to give you $1,000 towards any window purchase. It breaks the ice. It allows them to quit thinking for a second how to get rid of you off their porch and start thinking about, oh, this is a pretty cool looking thing. Okay? And then we go through a scripted door approach. And here's what we found. We found that after you've done all the other touches through the mail and the take one and all that stuff, people are a lot more willing to talk. It doesn't mean that you talk to 100 people, you get 100 leads and 100 sales. Obviously, that's stupid. But here's what it means. If you send out 100 people, that set of postcards and mailers, then you're going to have people that are going to be more likely to be willing to talk to you. Okay? If they are not there, put a door hanger on their door. So your canvasser is going to record what happens. Okay? If the person is not there, you put a door hanger and then go back. You've invested all this time and money. If they're not there, you go back, okay? This isn't like rampant canvassing where you get a van full of 17 guys and go out and hit the whole county. This is precise, laser-focused canvassing of people that you've already mailed to, okay? Try different times of the days, different days of the week. Leave the big bill. Let me show you what the big bill looks like. This is what it looks like on somebody's door. It's very impressive. It gets looked at. This is how we make it work. Here's what we've just accomplished. Many neighbors will have seen the job sign. True enough? True. Some will have taken the flyer. Every single one has received 3 postcards, no exceptions. They've all gotten the check mailer. They've all received the testimonial letter. Over half will personally have talked to your rep, assuming you go through the neighborhood 2 or 3 times and start, catching people home. All right? The rest who have not talked to your rep have found several door hangers because you keep leaving the door hanger. Minimum number of contacts is 6, maximum number 10 or 12. Here's the warning though. It takes time and effort. Okay, this isn't something that you just write a check and it happens. This takes coordination, it takes time, it takes effort, but it freaking works if you do it right and if you stick with it. Okay? So there's number 1. That's what it all looks like in a big pile. So we're going to move on to number 2, which is prepositioning. But before we do that, we are going to have a word from a couple of our sponsors. We're going to first hear from Guild Quality, and I've got Erica England on the line. I believe it's Erica. Yep, it is. And I've also got Tim Mush from Market Sharp. So first, we're going to stop down for a second and hear from Erica from Guild Quality. Erica, are you with me?
Hey, Rich. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, thank you for being here. And why don't you tell us about Guild Quality? I would do it, but you could probably do a better job than I would.
No, you do a great job. Well, we actually fit in really well into this topic. Today you're talking a lot about referrals, and you can't really get referrals without delivering outstanding customer service. So at Guild Quality, we're dedicated to helping contractors deliver an exceptional customer experience and earn recognition for their commitment to quality. Professional remodelers and home improvement contractors who are sincere about improving their business rely on us to gather authentic feedback from their customers and track performance trends. And we are offering a free trial, so anybody on the call today who's interested in experiencing what it's like to be a part of our community of quality can just visit our website and sign up.
Easy enough. By the way, we are going to be covering the topic specifically later on about referrals. So this is going to even tie in more. So I appreciate you being on the webinar, and the free trial offer is fantastic. And come on, people, there's really no reason not to do that. Let's get real. Somebody's sitting there going, well, I don't want a free trial. Why? Why would you say no to that? I don't even get it. It makes no sense. So thank you for being here. Skill quality, Eric. I appreciate it. And like I said, in just a few minutes after Tim Mush from Market Sharp talks, I'm going to put a poll up, and you'll have an opportunity to fill out, check off on that poll which of our sponsors you'd like to talk to. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay, now let's talk with Market Sharp, and I think I've got Tim Mush on here somewhere. Oh, here's Tim. Tim, are you with me?
I am, Rich. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Tim has been the longest time MYM sponsor since 2005, I believe, so 9 years now. I appreciate your ongoing support. And Tim, why don't you tell us how Market Sharp can maybe work in with this proximity marketing program that we just talked about, and a few other things.
Yeah, you bet, Rich. I think, I just love your webinars because it seems to me like whatever topic you're talking on kind of goes hand in hand with what we do at Market Sharp and also with the folks at Guild Quality and so forth. So why don't you advance the slide? And as it relates to proximity marketing, in addition to many other things that Market Sharp can do that many of you know, proximity marketing is something it can really help with. We think there's an app for that. So let's talk a little bit about it. Next slide talks about a principle concept. I love what you've done with this super robust proximity marketing, Rich, and these 6, 7 touches and all that kind of stuff. It's great. And oftentimes when you do that, you're going to end up pushing people to the web. And this is something I truly believe in right now on this screen right here. And what it is I think for maximum effectiveness in marketing nowadays, you really got to balance this offline and online marketing, because that's what's going to determine your 100% success. Too many people just do one or the other, and you really got to mix it up. So as Rich mentioned, have a goal to get another job at least for every job you install in a neighborhood. And I want to let you know something about what we got coming out very shortly here called Smart Mail Plus. And it goes hand in hand with what Rich talked about so far. And really what it is, from our CRM solution that many of you on this webinar have, you just click one little button on a customer record, and bang, everything starts. What will happen is, next slide will show really what happens. It's going to go ahead and get your postcards created with a picture of the job or the homeowners on it, get them in the mail, and each postcard is personalized to that particular addressee, that neighbor. And it's got a QR code because many people are getting these things, these emails on mobile phones and wanting to check things out on their mobile phones so they can go ahead and scan the QR code. There's also what's called a personalized URL on there, which means it's a personal place for that recipient of that postcard to go online. And when they do that, when they choose to go online, either through their mobile phone or they type in the web address, it takes them to a job-oriented landing page, like you're seeing in the bottom center there. Rich, why don't you go back one slide? I just want to show something else here. And that's going to, again, have a picture of that job. So what you got going on here is you got the postcard driving them to the web, and then you got a landing page that's really speaking about that job, maybe a picture of John and Mary Jones. Maybe you have a testimonial up on there, whatever you want. And that's not where it ends. What's cool about this is because every one of these postcards is coded to that individual homeowner, anytime anybody goes to that page, you get an email alert saying, hey, this person just landed on your page, even if they don't complete the submission form, which many of them won't. Some will. But even if they don't complete the submission form, you got a notice saying, hey, these guys are curious, landed on your page. And follow up with them. If they do,
Tim, can I interject something here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick comment. Here it is. That's freaking cool. Okay, keep going.
All right, thanks. It is. And what's really cool is this goes on from here. And remember, this all got started by one click of the mouse. And then what happens, these people land on these pages, you get these emails, you get reports of who landed there, how many landed there, all that. You can follow up. But also what's going on is automatically your Facebook page gets updated with information on the job. Your Twitter account gets updated. So pretty cool. Again, offline, online strategies really is what the future is. So next slide, Rich. And by the way, that's coming soon. A little bit more about Market Sharp in general. It's a web-based CRM system. Many of you know it. It helps you with your prospects, leads, customers, all the things Rich talks about we think we can help with. And your goal is to turn prospects into leads and leads into customers. So the next slide kind of gives a breakdown of many of the things it can do. One thing that's kicking up again is this whole lead paint thing that many of us had to deal with a few years ago. Well, guess what? It's back because all of us got to be recertified. There's new tests. They're cracking down. So there's that functionality built in Market Sharp. There's referral functionality Rich will be talking about, and so forth and so on. So with that, Rich, I think what I want to do is just end on this last slide here and let folks know if they'd like to learn more about our solution. Got a webinar coming up next week called Turn Data into Dollars, and it really does tell a great story in 60 minutes about what data can do for your business and how we can help in Market Sharp. So if you'd like to register, go to marketsharp.com/webinar. Get yourself registered. So back to you. I'm interested in learning about pre-approach or pre-positioning and referrals, Rich.
All right, thanks, Tim. And do sign up for this webinar if at all possible. And meanwhile, we're going to take a little poll. I told you that I'd give you an opportunity to express interest in our various sponsors. So I'm going to launch that poll now. Everybody, if you'll just do me a favor, here it goes. And just vote. You can pick multiple sponsors. It's not one of those things where you can only pick one, but go ahead and vote. And I will wait until we get a sufficient percentage of people that have voted, and go ahead and do that right now. Come on. Come on. All right. Hey, I need more voters. Let's go. Let's go. You got 20 seconds left. All right, we're still making progress here. Generally, just so people know, we get, we get over 50% of the people that are on the webinar that actually will vote for stuff like this, and we're closing in on that number here. Keep going. Come on. We can do it. We need 8% more. Let's go. Come on, people. All right. I'm going to give it 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, one last minute guy there. Okay. Thank you so much. And let's get back to the webinar. Let me just do a couple technical things here. Make sure that everything looks good. And finished. Okay, thank you for that. Now, here's what we're going to move on to. This is a picture of people welcoming the salesperson into the home in an excited fashion. And you might ask yourself, is that even possible? And the answer is absolutely. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about pre-positioning, doing some things before the sales meeting to get people excited so that they've already decided they want to do business with you before you ever show up. That is one of what we call the new rules of marketing. The old rules of marketing that applied before 2006, 7, 8, something like that, was very sales-centric. We put all of the effort into making sure that the salesperson showed up, did his job or her job, did all the presentation right, did all the closing right, and a huge amount of success or failure hinged on that salesperson. And obviously salespeople are still important and they always will be important. But here's what we want to do. We want to take marketing and allow our prospects to, here's a word that's a little bit weird in the remodeling industry, we want them to fall in love with you before you ever show up, so that that salesperson is greeted in an excited way as a solution, not as somebody just trying to sell something, okay? So here's what you've got to understand. In most cases, people don't really know anything about what you're selling. They've never bought windows or roofing or siding or kitchens before. It's just not something that they've done. They don't know how to choose a provider. They don't know what to watch out for. They don't know what the pitfalls are. And you know what? There's a generally speaking negative perception in the industry. On top of that, they don't know anything about you as a company generally. That's not always true, but it's generally true. So we want to make them fall in love with your company before you ever set foot in the house. That's the goal of pre-positioning. Here's what we want to communicate through our pre-positioning. First of all, identity, industry standards, helping people understand what they should expect when they do business in your industry. This is important because they don't know. I cannot impress upon you enough the lack of information that people have regarding remodeling, contractors, roofing, whatever it is that you happen to sell, siding, it doesn't matter. Then we're going to show how you stack up against those standards. We've got to create evidence. We want to show social proof so that you don't look like, just some weirdo company. You've got other companies, other customers. They like you. We want to prove this. It's like a court of law, okay? Product information. This is stuff that, generally speaking, in the past has been reserved for the sales meeting. I'm telling you, through lots of experience. This is extremely effective if you give it to the customer ahead of time and don't just simply wait. Okay? So here's some components. Things that you need to make available or proactively send before. When? Before the sales meeting. Number one is your website. That's probably obvious, but you would probably be shocked to find out that your current website, in 98% of the cases, is really not doing a very good job of selling your company. It might look good, it might look pretty, but it's not actively, proactively selling. It's not helping people understand your identity, who you are, why you're different, why you're better, what people can expect when doing business with you. Most websites tend to be full of platitudes. We're the best. We do good work. We strive for satisfaction. We have great warranties, but it's not precise, it's not passionate, and it's not powerful. So that's got to be fixed. Number two, emails that are sent before the sales meeting. Also reports that can be sent either in the mail, preferably, but more time-consuming and costly, or via email, which is a good second choice. And then some phone scripting. We're going to focus on some of the emails and reports and give you an idea on phone scripting, but we won't spend a lot of time there. So first of all, let's look at a website. This is a remodeling client of ours, and this is a website that we put together that encompasses this particular company's identity. It says persnickety, demanding, hard to please, picky, that I'm the remodeler for you. I'm not the fastest, I'm not the cheapest. I am, however, according to my customers, the best. In remodeling, it's all about the details, and I'm obsessed with them. Why? Because I'd rather do things right rather than right now. It takes time to do things properly, and I refuse to compromise quality for speed. I'm not the fastest, and I am not the cheapest. I am, according to my customers, I exceed their expectations with the final result. My cell phone number, it says, is, and it gives it. Feel free to interrupt my dinner. Wake me up at 2 a.m. Make me leave home early from vacation. My only concern is that your job is 100% perfect. On the right-hand side, you'll see, obviously, free estimate, but then we've got reviews, customer references, local contractor comparisons, and portfolios. We're building the case. We're helping them understand who we are, how we're different, why we're better, what they can expect when they do business with us. We send out an email when they set the appointment. It says, are you ready for your meeting with Portland's most persnickety remodeler? Most remodelers hate dealing with high-maintenance customers who complain about wanting every little thing a certain way. Those are the only kind I get along with, he says. And then it's an appointment reminder, of course. If you're looking for whatever, just get it done, then you might want to cancel our appointment. Cookie-cutter quality is not why people hire me. But if you're the kind of person that other companies hate doing business with because your demands are so unrelenting, we're going to be a great match. And it goes on in powerful, precise, passionate language to discuss who this customer is, how they're different, how they're better, and what people can expect when doing business, okay? Then we have a second email, depending on how much time elapses between the appointment set. If it's 1 day, then we only send one email. But if it's 2 or 3 days, then we can use software like MarketSharp to actually send multiple emails. We can send an email that has a reference list. Don't wait until you get there to start giving the references. I give them on the website. I also like to actively send them via email. Here's some companies you can call, or excuse me, customers you can call. David Waneke of Beaverton, Oregon, Kitchen and Bath. Here's his phone number, 503-524, etc. We give them the questions to ask. If I have time, if I have 3 days before the appointment, I might send a third email with some comments from some of their customers, okay? The idea here is to continually pre-position them by giving them information about your identity and also social proof and evidence that you're different, that you're better, what customers can expect when doing business with you. Okay, so we've talked about the website, critical, the emails, critical. Then we want to have these reports that we put together. There's two kinds of reports. One is a product-based report, and the other is what we call a contractor standards guide. So let's talk briefly about the product report. Understand, nobody knows anything about remodeling their bathroom or replacing their windows or getting new siding or getting a new roof. They just don't know. Typically, in the past, we would rely on strictly the salesperson to explain this. In fact, I've come to philosophical, not real, but philosophical blows with many of the industry sales trainers. They do not like for me to put this kind of information in my client's hands, which then goes to your client's hands, because they feel like it steals the salesman's thunder. And my response to that is, I would rather have the customer decide that they want to do business with me before I ever show up. I don't care about the salesperson being a rock star. I only care about getting sales. And you know what? If your salesman shows up and he's got all of these great tools and all of these great sales pitches, but the customer cancels the appointment because they bought from somebody else that showed up first, you're screwed, okay? We can't sit around and wait for salespeople to show up and do a great job. Number one, they might not even get a chance to show up. Number two, your salesperson might not be that great. If you got 5 salespeople, I promise you at least 1 or 2 of them suck. This is called reality. We want to do everything we can in our powers to preempt that problem and make people fall in love with us before we show up. So we're going to educate them what they need to know about bathroom remodeling, if that's what you're selling, or replacement windows, if that's what you're selling, or metal roofing, or the remodeling, whatever it happens to be, gutter protection, sunroom idea guide and portfolio, help them see that. We are going to put together those reports, send them out. We've got reports on every possible remodeling thing you can think of, whether it be decks or siding or fiber cement siding or vinyl siding or metal roofing or regular roofing or high-end premium windows or middle grade vinyl windows. We've got all of those. And you need to put together that kind of report. Send it out to your clients. It's called pre-positioning. But here's the real issue. Contractor standards, code of ethics and competency, learn how to choose the right contractor the first time. What we're going to do is take a position of consumer advocate and help people understand what some of the problems are with the industry and help them understand what they need to look for, what they need to watch out for, and how they can evaluate any contractor. We do that with this guide. When you open it up, you see a table of contents on the left. You'll see that the table of contents is broken into 4 general categories: stability, reputation, professionalism, and workmanship. These are the 4 categories that we want people to understand: financial stability, reputation, professionalism, and workmanship. And you'll notice that within each of those 4 categories, there are multiple points. For instance, under stability, we've got company tangibles, bank letter and supplier letter, business license and insurance, debt status of company. Under reputation, we've got a Better Business Bureau letter, memberships, customer references and online reviews, accolades and awards, direct access to company owner. And these things can be modified and customized a little bit to fit the respective needs of respective companies, but this is a general outline of how this works. The headline has a picture of the owner, and it says, "I was shocked and embarrassed when I found out that contractors were America's #1 most complained about industry." And it's signed by the president. It goes through a little discussion about how the industry standards weren't strong enough. So we, the company, your company ostensibly, took the time and effort to put together a list of standards that people can use to compare. And I will briefly show you what some of these look like. I don't have time to go through these in detail, and it's not the purpose of this webinar to go through this in detail, but to just give you an idea and a feel for how this works, okay? So we go through the first category, which is stability. We show pictures of the showroom and the staff. We have a bank letter and a supplier letter signed by your bank and suppliers respectively, stating that they know you and that they find you to be a stable company. Business licenses and insurance certificates with an explanation of what they are and why they're important and what to look for, okay? And then we put the proof of what we do so that they can see the standard that we uphold, your company, right, in the guide itself. Reputation is the next section. We talk about the Better Business Bureau, what that really means. Memberships, whether it's NARI or NAHB or any other small chamber of commerce, whatever it is. Next, online customer reviews, customer references. We show them where they can go get more on our website ostensibly. Accolades and awards, if you've been written up, if you've been named to the top 500 or you've had articles written about you in the local paper, we put that stuff in this guide so that they can see it. Professionalism, whether it be talking about the specification of the bid so that you don't get ripped off by a contractor. We put together a no tricks, no pressure sales agreement, a job site cleanup roster, worker conduct agreements that you have your workers sign that shows that they will be properly dressed, that they'll be drug tested, and they will not listen to music loud, they won't pee in your bushes, whatever, right? Things that allow people to see that you don't just talk about having standards, you actually hold people to them. One of the things that we like to key on is the no tricks, no pressure sales agreement. This is something that we would use in the scripting when they call to set the appointment. We would say, Mr. Johnson, I want you to know that we have a written no tricks, no pressure sales agreement. We're coming to your house to help you make the best decision as it relates to windows. We hope you will do business with us. We sincerely want to do business with you, but our most important objective is to make sure that you make the best choice for you. So if we can help you out, we'd be honored to have you as a client, but I want you to know this. It's not going to be high pressure. It's not going to be something that we're going to twist your arm. We're there simply to help. Then we send them the no tricks, no pressure sales agreement that says that you'll be punctual, that you'll alert the customer if you're not going to be punctual, that you'll keep your clothing neat and clean. This is signed by a salesperson, right? They respect their telephones, bathroom, parking spaces, that you will strive to find the best solution for their needs, that you will not use high-pressure techniques to get them to comply with requests, that you will not sell products or services that they're not financially able to manage, that you will give customers a fair price and a fair opportunity to consider their options. You'll educate the customer on all sides of the purchase decision. You'll give the customer an opportunity to express concerns and work to resolve them. And finally, the clincher, in the event the customer is not ready to move forward, I'll respect their decision. We put it in writing. We essentially give them permission to not do business with us, and in so doing, you would be shocked at how it draws people to you. This is powerful stuff, okay? Background check, drug testing, workmanship. We take all of your warranties and guarantees. We put them in certificates. We explain to people what they are. We talk about photo inspections and things like that, and we show pictures of the work, okay? Again, the idea here on this webinar is not to go through a ton of detail on this, but to give you an idea. We're setting the standard, and we're sending this to people ahead of time. We give them a checklist where they can check off us versus other contractors that they may be considering. It's very powerful to go to the customer and say, we don't mind you shopping around. We don't mind you checking. Just make sure that when you check, you make sure that you understand what they really are all about. Here's a checklist, okay? This is a testimonial letter by one of our customers that uses this. Whoops. It says, Dear Dan, that's our consultant that they worked with. I didn't believe you when you told me what happened. I did it anyway. I was flat out wrong. This marketing crap really works. The phones are ringing, appointments and sales have doubled, the crews are busy, and our revenues are up 5 times higher. We're making more money. Thanks to your marketing, we're now proving our value. We're getting out of the dog-eat-dog price world that used to drive me nuts. I knew we were better than most roofers, but we had trouble showing it. Now we can prove it. It's powerful. We're closing deals we never would have had at higher prices. Our appointments are up 200%, and our closing and prices are way up. We're using some new internal processes, so we're getting better. But what's just as amazing to me are the hidden benefits. I'm going to blow this up on your screen a little bit. Here's what it says. My sales manager is actually having fun with the new approach and the new sales tools. He's now commonly greeted on the first call in a friendlier way, sometimes a relieved sort of way. The customer says they feel like they have someone they can trust. They talk about the ad when they call, and in person, it's amazing. Our sales presentation is stronger than ever. Customers regularly tell us we're by far the most professional company they've ever seen. It feels good. Everyone in the company has a new focus and can feel the positive momentum since we started this marketing. They're believers because they're seeing results. Now, here's what I want you to understand about this. This is not a company that took radical efforts to put radical new processes in place to make their company radically better. This is a company that was already good, that did things right, but couldn't show it and prove it to the customers until we put the pre-positioning, the website, the emails, the reports, the contractor standards guide, the scripting, and now suddenly, magically it would seem, when their salesperson shows up, they're greeted in a relief sort of way. People say that they found somebody they can trust. They say that it's the most professional company they've seen. It's the same dumb company it used to be. But now the perception is different. This is what pre-positioning does. It makes customers fall in love with you before your salesperson shows up, which is when you want them to fall in love, okay? So let's go to the final topic. It was a 3-for-1 webinar. We've already covered super robust proximity. I just covered pre-positioning, and now we're going to cover referrals, okay? And this illustration shows turning one customer into a family of customers, okay? And hey, that guy with his bald with the beard, I know him. His name's Lewis. All right. Everyone wants more referrals, right? But here's the problem. Salespeople never ask for them. You have too many other things to worry about, right? You have no system in place to generate referrals. Everything's always reactive, okay? This is the state of referral chaos I find most companies in. Some companies have a nice little rhythm where they get a nice little set of referrals, but it's sort of random. And a lot of companies just don't get that many referrals at all, okay? So the result is you get a lot less referrals than you should get, okay? Let me tell you what your standards should be. If you have a good company that does things right, and you put the referral processes in place that I'm going to talk about today, within 2 years, your percentage of business that should come from referrals should be at least a third of your business, at least a third, okay? If you don't have at least a third of your business as referrals after proactively doing the things I'm going to talk about, it means that number one, you either weren't trying, or number two, your company kind of sucks and your customers really don't like you that much. That's a problem. That's really all it means. It should be up to a third, okay? A third. A freaking third. Think about that for a second. It's amazing. Let's get real, though. Your customers have better things to do with their time than actively sell for you. Hey, do you know anybody that wants new windows? When you ask that question, here's the problem with that question. You sit down, your salesman sits down, they write the order. It's a $7,000 order. Everybody's happy. Everybody's excited. And then you think, oh, I need referrals. So you look at your customer and say, hey, do you know anybody else that needs windows? And they look at you and they look a little bit, glassy-eyed, and they say, no. And you want to know what? They're telling the truth. And the reason is because nobody sits around and inventories all the stuff that their friends might happen to need. Do you? Do you know what kind of stuff your friends need to buy? Do you know if they're looking for a swimming pool, or if they want to buy a motorcycle or new blender or anything else for that matter? You just don't happen to know most of the time because it's not something that we do. We don't keep track of what our friends need. Most of your customers do not know people that need stuff that you sell right now. So don't be disappointed if you ask right after the job and don't get any referrals. Here's the keys to make sure that you get a strong recommendation whenever the topic naturally comes up in the future. Here's when referrals happen. Referrals happen when the topic of conversation among friends or colleagues or associates naturally turns to whatever topic is associated with your business. If you do kitchen remodeling, maybe the friends come over and they go, wow, your kitchen looks beautiful. Boom, there's a chance to talk about kitchens, right? If you get brand new windows, maybe you got a friend who mentions that his windows are fogged up over dinner one night. Maybe it's the 17th dinner you've had with him in 2 years before the topic of windows ever comes up. Who knows how long it might take? But this is called the reality of how things work. Getting referrals, so you need to understand this. It's a lot more like farming than hunting, okay? Farming, you plant seeds, you cultivate, you nurture, and then in the future, when? In the future, when? Not right now, when? In the future, you get to harvest the crops. But we're all so greedy. We're all so impatient that we say, give me referrals right now. Well, you know what? Referrals don't work that way, because if it did, you'd never have to remind your people to ask for them, because they would always get them. And if they were always getting them, they'd always be asking for them. But the reason that they don't ask for them is because when they do, they don't ever get any. And the reason they don't ever get any is because nobody knows anybody that needs what you sell. So you've got to plant, and you've got to respect the processes of nature, okay? So 3 steps to getting more referrals. Number 1, focus efforts on the customer experience. This is number 1. When people have a great experience, they're going to naturally refer you to their friends, because they're going to like the job. Now, here's what you might say, and I can anticipate your objection because I've heard of this 1,000 times. The objection is, well, we do great work. I'm not talking about doing great work. This isn't what I'm talking about, because here's why. If somebody hires you to come out and put siding on their house, and you come out and put siding on their house, and you do a good job, that's what they expected. They didn't expect you to do a sucky job and have to sue you at Judge Judy to get the job done or to get their money back. They expect you to come in a timely fashion and do the job and for it to be good. That's what they expected. You've got to do something great so that they go, wow, you've got to take it to the next level. Okay, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Number 2, proactively reward customers for referrals using reciprocity. I'll talk about that also. And then number 3, ask for referrals using marketing in a systematic, consistent way. These are the 3 steps for referrals. You say, well, I don't like those 3 steps. I don't want to do it that way. Fine, don't get referrals then. I really don't care. It's up to you. It's your business. This is the way organically that you will get tons of referrals. You know what? I know companies that get 30, 40, 50, 55% of their business from referrals. And you know how they do it? They do it by doing exactly what it says on the screen. And the first thing, and the most important thing, is number 1, okay? So let's talk about customer experience. The more you wow your customers, the more likely they will be to give you referrals. Focus on the customer experience. Number 1, clearly communicate your identity. Remember, I've talked about this thing called identity all throughout the webinar today. Remember the concept of identity? Who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what customers can expect when doing business with you. If you communicate that powerfully so that they understand it, when? Before you show up to sell, while they're waiting for you to show up to sell, and while you're there selling, when they see that and you communicate that to them and they understand what that is, then they're going to remember it and they're going to fall in love with it. Remember the example I showed you, the persnickety remodeler? Remember that? What do you think his customers think when he finally shows up to the sales meeting? They think, oh, this guy's the persnickety remodeler. And they sit there and they look for things that he does that are persnickety. They look for him to be overly obsessive about the details. And guess what? He is overly obsessive about the details. So guess what happens later on, 17 months later, when they're having a conversation with a colleague over lunch at a business dinner, and the guy says, I'm thinking about remodeling my house here in town. And your customer looks at him and says, oh my gosh, don't even consider remodeling your house without calling Don Isaacson. He's what's known as the persnickety remodeler, and we had the most unbelievable experience with this guy. There was no detail too small. This guy insisted that everything be done exactly right. And there's your referral, right? There's your referral. Because Don Isaacson took the time to communicate his identity in a way that allowed people to fall in love with him, even before he ever showed up to sell them, before he ever did the work. As long as he delivers on his promise, it's going to be powerful. Pre-positioning, we already talked about that. Your sales presentation, follow-up from the sales manager. Here's a good one that I want you to think about. Constant communication throughout the job, making sure that your customers understand what's happening now, what's going to happen next, and what they can expect. Because you know what? They have not ordered windows before. They don't know that it takes 3 weeks for them to be delivered from the factory and another week and a half to arrange for the install. So after 2.5 weeks, they start getting nervous that you forgot about them. You understand what I'm saying? Under promise and over deliver. If your customers love you, they're going to be more likely to refer their friends. But the key word here is not do a good job. I don't want to hear about you doing a good job. I want to hear about you wowing, okay? Now, let's look at some ads from Don Isaacson. Are you anxious to get the job done? Are you anxious to get the job done right? I could honestly care less if you have a list of 3 remodelers who are cheaper than me. This is this identity. I just want to show you this identity communicated in different ways. At a home show, it might look like this: persnickety, demanding, hard to please. I'm the remodeler for you. We're not the fastest. We're not the cheapest. According to our customers, we're the best. A postcard might be sent out that says, I shut down the job site in disgust, ripped out the entire floor, and started over again from scratch. Me and not done exactly right don't get along very well. If I have to choose between profit and perfection, I'll choose perfection every single time. Now, I'm showing you these advertisements, these marketing pieces, because I want you to understand it is imperative that you communicate this identity with power, precision, and passion. You communicate it instantly and definitively so that everybody knows who you are, how you're different, why you're better, and what they can expect when doing business with you. It has to be communicated in the advertising, in the marketing, on the website, in the emails as part of pre-positioning, in the contractor standards guide, in the sales presentation, and it has to be delivered on in the actual analysis, okay, when the job's actually done. But if you fail to communicate this stuff and then you show up and you do a great job, people are only going to perceive that you did a great job. They're not going to perceive that you're mega freaking awesome like you are. You see the difference? It's critical. Your identity goes in the middle of all your marketing, okay? And that includes, ultimately, referrals, okay? So step 2, proactively rewarding your customers. If you don't proactively reward them, you're only going to get a fraction of the referrals, okay? Give your customers a reward when upfront. Now, a lot of people have these reward programs where they say, well, give us a referral and then we'll give you $100, or we'll give you a gift card to Outback Steakhouse or something like that. Oh, and if the customer buys, we'll give you even a bigger reward. Those are okay. I'm not saying don't do those, but you know what? Here's what's even better. Reward them up front. Build reciprocity that will be beneficial later, okay? If you've wowed your customers, the gift that you give them at the conclusion of the job should be seen as an exclamation point at the end of a great experience, okay? The gift acts as a thank you for the business, and it acts as a thank you for referrals that they're going to give you later, okay? So here's how you do it. First of all, identify a gift. Decide on a gift that has a high perceived value. Then send it to your customers with a letter that expresses appreciation for being a customer, and then you send it with the gift, okay? Let them know that you won't destroy their friends. In the letter, you should say, look, I know that you've got friends that may be interested in these services. If you send us a referral, I promise that we will treat them with respect, just like we've treated you, okay? Follow up on the telephone and ask. So what kind of gift should you give? All right, first of all, make sure that you allow for sending gifts in your sales price, okay? So you've got to pay for this somehow, so you've got to think about that. The gift should be appropriate for the size of the sale. If you sell a $40,000 kitchen and you give them a $10 movie ticket, that might be a little bit of a disconnect. If it's a $40,000 kitchen and you give them a $50 or $100 Ruth's Chris Steakhouse gift card, then that's going to be a little bit more connected. Gift cards are easy to administer. Everybody loves to eat, okay? An actual present is actually better. If you give them something that you send in a box, the problem is it's harder to administer, okay? Let's just face it. Gift cards are easy. Everyone loves the intrigue of getting a package, though. I don't care if you're 47 years old. Everyone loves to feel like a kid on Christmas morning where you get a package and you just don't really know what's in it. I mean, think about it now. If you're an adult and you get a present from your spouse or from your kid, you pretty much know what's in it, right? Because you told them what you wanted because you already got every stupid thing you could ever think of, and you got to tell them that you want the, Italian bifold black billfold, and then they get you the exact one you want. This is a little different. This is a little bit of intrigue. It's powerful. Don't make it too complicated, though. So typically when we do this kind of thing, I encourage you to just stick with gift cards simply because it's easier, okay? And then step 3 is you got to just ask for the referrals. Your customers have a life. They've got things that they're doing. You could have built the most beautiful kitchen on the planet or, replaced the awesomest windows. 12 months later, they're going to forget who you are. That's just the nature of people. You need to invest time and money to keep yourself fresh and relevant in their mind. The best way to do this is simply through the mail. It's not that hard to do, okay? Mail your past customers 4 to 6 times per year. I'm not talking about email. I'm talking about junk that shows up in their freaking mailbox, okay? Newsletters, usually they're garbage. I'm not a big fan of the newsletter. Plus, it's overkill a lot of times. Postcards get the point across best. Remember, left-hand, right-hand trash can? We're just trying to keep you fresh in their mind so that the next week when they're having that lunch with that colleague and that topic comes up, it's fresh, okay? If it's 17 months later and you haven't hit them with mail 4, 5, 6 times a year for the last year and a half, 17 months later comes up, they don't even remember who you are. Letters are okay. And if they do remember who you are, they're certainly not as excited about you as they were. Okay, that's just human nature. Think about something that happened a year and a half ago that was super, super, super exciting. I remember I went to Hawaii in 2012. First time I'd ever gone. It was amazing. I was blown away. I was so captivated by the beauty and the weather and everything. It was so amazing. And I thought I wanted to move there, and I just wanted to just permanently be there. It was so awesome. And then a year later, I was going to go again, and as the trip approached to go to Hawaii for the second time, a little over a year later, I thought, yeah, Hawaii was pretty good, but I don't know why I was so excited about it. I mean, what was the big deal? And I started doubting if I really wanted to go, if I really wanted to spend the money again. And then I got there, and it all came back to me. I was like, oh, crap, now I remember. It's freaking awesome here, okay? All I'm trying to say is time fades the intensity of the emotion. You've got to do something to put it back. You give them the gift. They're eating at Outback Steakhouse because you gave them a gift card. As they go to pay, they hand the gift card to the waiter, and they think, wow, XYZ Remodeling gave me this gift card. That was really nice of them. And then 17 months later, they get the 7th postcard from you, and they go, wow, remember, they did such a great job. That's the persnickety remodeler. Man, that guy was awesome. I remember I went to dinner, and it keeps it fresh. That's all we're trying to do here, folks. Thank them for their business. Ask them for referrals. If you wowed them, you gifted them, it's going to evoke that positive feeling. Keep them at the front of the mind. Ask them for additional business if it's appropriate. If you sell sunrooms, maybe they don't need another one. But if it's anything else, if you've got other products, ask them for more business. Don't be afraid to ask directly for referrals in these marketing pieces, okay? Remember, your customers have better things to do with their time than sell for you. Most of your customers do not know someone who needs stuff right now. The key is to make sure you get a strong recommendation when it comes up in the future. It's like farming, not hunting, right? We talked about that. This is a repeat of an earlier slide, but I want you to remember, okay? Okay, well, that's going to do it. Let me just tell you, I've got a couple more things for you here, so don't hang up just quite yet. We're going to give away the 3 books in just a second. Before we do that, I want to give you an idea of some of the things that we do for our clients at MYM. Like I said earlier, we've got about 130 clients, all of them in the remodeling industry, whether it's kitchen, bath, design build, windows, high-end windows, middle road windows, James Hardie siding, steel siding, vinyl siding, decks, bathrooms, roofing, steel, metal roofing. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle. We do all of it. And we've got foundational marketing stuff that you've got to have in order to operate. It starts with your identity. I've hammered that about 5 times on this call. If you don't have an identity, if you're not sure you have an identity, you need to fix that. It's imperative. Otherwise, you just look like every other remodeler on the planet. That's not what you want. I'll give you an opportunity in just a minute to request an identity consultation where we'll look at your website. We'll grade your website based on factors of what we call conversionability. Does it have identity? Does it have social proof? Does it have evidence? Does it have a headline funnel? Is it professional enough? And we'll let you know. And if you like what you find, if you're doing great, fine. If you're not, you might want to fix it. Then we'll create professional identity-based websites. Next, driving traffic through organic and paid search, getting traffic to your website, and then using mailing and advertising to grow. Things like creating the super robust proximity marketing program that we talked about, or the referral program that we talked about, or the pre-positioning that we talked about, okay? All of this, we do all of these things for a low monthly payment. We have what we call our monopolized bundle. We'll create the identity for you. We'll write all the content for your website, build the website, do your SEO setup, the coding. We'll also do the monthly maintenance for a couple of years, create a mobile version of your website, updates for your websites for the same 2 years. We'll manage your pay-per-click. We'll create the pre-positioning materials, all of it like we just talked about. It's included in this package. We'll do ongoing webinar training with you. We do about 4 webinars per month. We've got about 200, well, I guess we got about 150 at this point recorded and posted on our website. The value of the bundle is $50,000 if everything was purchased separately. But, you know, we can show you how to do it so that your under-leveraged stuff actually works. We do it for about $2,999 down and $599 a month. If you'll hang on for just a second, I'll give you a special offer for webinar viewers that will make that even a little more affordable. Just ask yourself, how clear is your identity? How much are you spending on stuff that doesn't work? How many deals would it take for this to be a good investment? Okay, so if you go to our website, you go to the Remodelers tab, it's on the right-hand side, mymonline.com, and you go to the bonus page, then you'll see what's included in this bundle. You can click around and get a feel for what it is and how it works, okay? mymonline.com/bonus, okay? Now I'm going to give you a special offer here. The special offer is as follows. If you buy this bundle by Friday, first of all, we'll give you a $500 cash discount so that the down payment is only $2,499 instead of $2,999. That's a real savings of $500. We'll also give you $50 off per month on the payment. So it's $549 instead of $599. That includes all the SEO. That includes the website, the identity, the pre-positioning, pay-per-click, management, and everything else. 5 months fewer payments. So instead of 35 months of payments, it goes down to 30 months. Okay, it's a $5,000 total discount. If you'd like to take advantage of that, here's what you need to do. Just email me on my personal email address in the next 10 minutes. My personal email address is Rich Harshaw, R-I-C-H. I'm not Rick. I get called Rick a lot, but I'm not Rick. I'm Rich, R-I-C-H-H-A-R-S-H-A-W @gmail.com. On the subject line, put the words bonus bundle and put your name, website, and cell number so that we can reach out to you. You'll be contacted by our VP of of Business Development, Brian Bauman, and he'll schedule an appointment with you. And to make this work, to get the $5,000 total discount, you've got to do it by Friday. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Two things. First of all, I'm going to launch the second poll, and I'm going to launch that right now. Okay, the second poll is, what is your interest in Monopolize Your Marketplace? And you've got two choices. If you're interested in the bonus bundles, go ahead and click that off. Even if you send an email to richharshaw@gmail.com, go ahead and click that off. If you'd like to have an identity consultation to help you understand what your identity is, where it may be falling short, then you can go ahead and click that as well. And I'm also going to give away the books right now. So if you'll pay attention while this is on the screen, I'm going to let that poll stay on there, and I'm going to go over to the attendees, and I'm going to pick at random the three callers. The first person is going to be Dana Finn. Dana Finn, you have won a Monopolize Your Marketplace book. The second person is going to be Kathy Eansor, E-A-N-S-O-R, Kathy Eansor. And the third person is going to be Sal Ingiamano. I'm sorry, I can't say that right. Sal Ingiamio, I-N-G-I-A-M-O. You are the three book winners, so thank you for participating. I'll go ahead and close this poll. And I will now take any questions from the audience. If you'd like to ask a question, please type it into the question box, and I'd be happy to take your question. All right, let's see here. Questions. Usually takes a little time to get rolling. Okay, here we go. All right. Well, this is a little bit late. John asked if an architect involved in remodeling projects, if it'll be of value to him. I don't know. I don't know, John. What do you think? Why don't you tell me? Give us a budget number. How much should we budget per customer to do all the things you presented today? Okay, so first of all, pre-positioning is something that is going to cost you a little bit of money up front to create the materials. Now, in our bundle, it's included, but if you tried to do it yourself, it's going to cost you a little bit of money to write the materials, to do the design on it. But it's sort of a one-time thing. If you send them out, the reports, hard copies, then you've got to account for how many leads per month you have and how many, how many you're going to be sending. But you can figure that out pretty easy. In terms of the super robust proximity marketing, well, again, let's say that you use a count of 100 neighbors. Then you need to look at that in terms of, okay, 100 neighbors, we're going to send 3 postcards. We're going to have the take one boxes. We're going to send the check mailers. The postcards are going to cost generally about 60 to 70 cents each. The check mailer is going to cost about $1 a piece. The testimonial letter is going to cost about 75 cents a piece. So let's add it up. So we've got 7. By the way, I've got a more detailed webinar on this where we go through that. Didn't have time today because of putting 3 topics in one. But let's go 4 plus. It might cost you about $500 to administer that to 100 people, plus the cost of the canvasser. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. I strongly suggest in that case that you test it, okay? Take 2 or 3 jobs and roll it out. Don't commit to 75 jobs to see how it goes. Tweak and fine-tune the materials as you go. My experience with a lot of remodelers on that proximity marketing is people just don't do it. They won't do it for whatever reason. They just don't do it. And the reason they don't do it, it takes time and effort, okay? And people prefer to write checks instead of spending time and effort. I understand that. I'm not saying it's a stupid thing. I'm saying it's the nature of how it works. But I would recommend that you test it. In terms of referrals, you've got the referral gift fee. That's going to cost whatever you decide. If you decide to send a $25 gift card, then it's $25 per customer plus whatever time and effort it takes you to actually get that sent out. Okay, so realistically, if you are a company that does 20 jobs per month, then you can multiply those numbers out. Okay, hopefully that helps, Alex, without going into too much detail. Dana says, thank you. She never wins anything. You want a book today, so we'll be sending that out to you via UPS. You'll get it, gosh, probably early next week. When will we receive a copy of the slideshow? You went fast, and I wasn't able to write down all my notes. Katie, come on, you got to write faster. Oh, we're actually going to send a link to a video. We've recorded this. It's not a slideshow per se, but it's a video, so it'll be like watching it again. That link will go out to you by tomorrow. How would you modify this for selling architectural design services? John, I don't know if that question maybe falls outside of what we can answer right here. I mean, we've worked with architects before. The principles are exactly the same in terms of creating an identity. You're an architect. How are you different and better than other architects? What can remodelers expect when doing business with you? And then you would want to, communicate with them on a consistent basis. The good thing for you as an architect is that the remodelers, there's a certain finite number of them that you can identify, and you can put a mailing program in place and continue to hit them over and over and over and over again. Whereas a remodeler, there's hundreds of thousands or, whatever number in your town of potential customers. So it's a little harder to gear in and focus in like that. But as an architect, you have that advantage. So, it really comes down to identity. If you're not quite sure, John, if you want to fill out the form or click off on the poll that you'd like to have an identity consultation, somebody in our office would certainly be happy to talk to you and give you some ideas and some suggestions, okay? Next, Alex, 5 to 750 on an ongoing basis, a good budget range. I think that's good, Alex. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, any other questions? Usually I have more questions than this. Anyone else? Anyone? I'm going to do the sort of countdown, going once, going twice. All right. Well, I appreciate you being on the webinar with me today. Also, I'd like to say thank you one more time to our sponsors. We've got Qualified Remodeler Magazine, Gutter Covers International, Bath Wraps by Liner Direct, Guild Quality, and of course Market Sharp. Thank you to all of them. If you like what you heard today, please do me and them a favor and just shoot them a quick note via email saying, hey, I appreciate you inviting me to this webinar. I found it to be valuable. So that's it for today, folks. We'll be back. Gosh, I don't know what our next webinar is. It's probably next month, and we'll talk to you then. Thanks so much. Bye now.